taken the approach I have to 3-in-1 style what if scenario videos requested by viewers. We have a few concerning the Kaioken, which is a good opportunity to fully explore the topic. Before going into them, it's best to go over the question of why didn't any character beyond Goku learn this? It's not as if it's to do with talent alone, as Dragon Ball Online's lore has Kaio directly teaching it to Earth's population, and that game had a significant input from Toriyama. The short answer amounts to 2 main points. The first being the key control required to use or maintain it isn't something everyone can attain, with Goku's success being the combination of what can be considered the Ushin or enlightenment quality that allowed him to learn many complex key concepts quicker than others, and his Saiyan biology having him adapt quickly to 10 times gravity, more so than a stronger Yamcha, for instance, would have allowed his body and mind to be more balanced, which is an essential part of key control. The second reason would be that some characters that could have learnt the Kaioken from Kaio decided to do their own thing, such as Tenshinhan making it apparent he'd take his own spin on what Kaio taught, and this couldn't be more obvious than the Shinki cohort. With that said, and starting these what if requests, the first is from Chaos Cateriano 7 on what if Yamcha learnt the Kaioken, the reason only him in specific doing so being that he uses the gravity room created for Vegeta when he's busy recovering to replicate the 10 times gravity of Kaio's planet, to put all his effort into learning it so that he doesn't have to rely purely on Goku and the others, not feeling comfortable being at Capsule Corporation for a while after the breakup. He goes to spar with Kuririn and teach him the basics of the Kaioken, which he catches on to quickly, and both manage to push it to 10 times by the time they face 19 and 20. Gero gets more of a boost from draining 10 times Kaioken Yamcha, but it isn't enough to change his actions against Vegeta, and though he comes close to Piccolo's strength, the difference in martial skill is enough for Piccolo to hold the edge until Trunks arrives as usual. The next divergence is when Tenshinhan goes off to face Cell, where Yamcha, knowing he has greater ki than 10, gives him the confidence to go back him up. It isn't enough to change things though, beyond an extra senzu being needed to heal Yamcha, and the Cell arc goes the same. It's with the Buu arc though, that hearing the no Super Saiyan rule convinces Yamcha it's worth participating, and stays when the others leave, when knowing how he ranks in serious battle, and finally has a chance to win. Just after 18 finishes dealing with Mighty Mask, he hits her with a surprise Sokidan that's just enough for her to hit the outside of the ring, as Yamcha goes off to dethrone Mr. Satan. Though the military try to seek Yamcha out to take on Buu, they still turn to Satan due to his excuse of losing, being the Sokidan trick being way too flashy up close. That would cause a seizure in any normal human, unlike he, with the Buu arc going as usual, beyond Yamcha being even more well off, and sharing a portion of his prize money with Kuririn to support one of his best friends. Super remains the same, aside from Yamcha defeating Zaoyogi alone with the Kaioken. With that said, we see here that Yamcha's lower level of ambition as a martial artist compared to an earthling like Tenshinhan wouldn't provide a huge divergence, but he made what he changed count, with his more down-to-earth mindset than some of the other Dragon Team members. Another from Chaos Cateriano 7, and also Jason Kando, is what if Videl learnt the Kaioken. The change comes from Videl learning more about the Dragon Team after the Buu arc, and becomes even more aware of how she can't catch up, only for Goku to casually say she could try learning the Kaioken, explaining it, and that someone skilled enough to pick up Bukujutsu so quickly, despite being nowhere near strong or experienced as those he fought at the Budokai as a teenager, could have the talent to achieve it. Her father approves when telling her he'd like to pass the champion torch to her when he's older, and Buu wouldn't be interested in participating once he does. Over the next few years, she goes through the same Shugyo as Goku did, but speedrunning it through his tutelage, until being ready to learn the Kaioken Kaioken, achieving it, and her passion having her eventually catch up to the likes of Tenshinhan without it, through Goku sparring with her. In Super, this doesn't change anything for Battle of Gods, and she can't do anything to Tagomat despite participating. Her being there and in danger though, does motivate Gohan enough to regain his fighting instincts and be fueled enough by rage at Piccolo's death to make Frieza transform. Though this is a bridge too far for Gohan, his increase in ki is enough for Goku to sense him and arrive as events flow as usual until the Tournament of Power, where Videl takes Boo's spot. The events with Frieza convinced her and Gohan on the need to push themselves to protect Pan, with her becoming far stronger and Gohan pushing himself to surpass what he saw of Golden Frieza. This makes them strong enough to defend a group that stick together against lesser threats such as Universe 9, Magetta or Frost, and avoid a loss for Universe 7 until far into the tournament. Gohan's improvements through it and starting far stronger has him decisively defeat Kefla before he and Videl help the others against Jiren, who easily knocks Videl out of the ring. This has Gohan realize his need to defend everyone to survive and unlocks the beast form. He isn't as strong as by Superhero though without the events with Moro beforehand, as Jiren's instincts and efficient movements have him defeat Gohan after going beyond his limits, but he wastes enough ki. Goku and Vegeta are able to take him out of the ring along with themselves, for 17 and Roshi to be the winners. When Moro attacks Earth, Gohan is able to easily defeat Sagambo, and is both strong and fast enough to defeat Moro before he can steal his ki. The difference with the Granola arc is that not unlocking it against Jiren has Goku only be able to access Ultra Instinct Sign, even with Merisa's additional tutelage. This has Goku know he's underprepared to face Granola in a rematch, and goes to ask Gohan for help, whose kind nature has him end up reasoning with Granola quicker, before he helps the others oppose Gas. Goku achieves both versions of Ultra Instinct in this battle. Without Frieza interrupting though, Gohan helps keep the others alive, while Granola sacrifices more of his lifespan to keep Gas at bay, until Whis arrives for help with Beerus's yakisoba. Beerus sees the issue going on, and comes soon after to dispose of Gas for ruining his eating schedule, as the Saiyans then leave while Granola deals with Elec. When the Gammas appear, Piccolo seeks help from Gohan directly, who defeats and pacifies both Gammas before destroying Cell Max. As for Videl's martial arts classes going on at the time, her greater knowledge of ki has her teach more complex ki philosophies to regular humans, and Gohan deciding to write his book, Groundbreaking Science, sometime before the 28th Tenkaichi Budokai. This has Chappa become aware of things such as Bukujutsu, and pass the knowledge down to Oob, who has better ki control when facing Goku, and thereby advances far more before the events of GT, with Goku having to go all out in a rematch. Meanwhile, Videl's far greater focus on improving, and Pan's enthusiasm has her teach Pan the Kaioken, which changes the events in space. Pan is able to attain 20 times Kaioken by the time of GT, which combined with her rage, causes her to defeat the Mega Cannon Sigma, and overpower Rild even with his transformations, when the difference between base and Super Saiyan isn't the 50 times ki increase by that point. It's then that Rild uses the Metal Breath, and Trunks then goes about his plan. Goku then doing the same once having a bit of a fight with Rild. Despite Pan's greater power, it isn't enough to oppose Baby on Earth, but she is able to avoid being injured by Gohan on planet Sufru, then backing Oob up against Baby, where Oob's greater power progress has the pair pressure Baby enough for him to use the Revenge Death Ball. Boo gets in the way, and Super Oob easily overpowers Baby, but lets himself be turned into chocolate for the same strategy, when not wanting to sacrifice Vegeta. After the events with Baby, Videl chooses to enter the 31st Tenkaichi Budokai, but is defeated by Oob. Changes occur in the Super 17 arc, where not only does Pan need no help defeating Rild, but Oob is able to last long enough to get an opening to use the chocolate beam on Super 17, whose lack of actual key to counter it. Has this be a decisive blow? Aside from defeating Lu Xinlong on her own, Pan's role in the Evil Dragons arc doesn't really change. It's here we see, despite Videl being too late to the game to change things directly, the effect she'd have on others could push those around her with greater talent or experience to new heights. As a truly important support character. The final request comes from Paper Prince 2, on what if Goku focused on mastering the Kaioken further after the Cell arc. Rather than achieving Super Saiyan 3, he would still achieve Super Saiyan 2 when known it to be a clear possibility, but would only stack Kaioken on top of his regular Super Saiyan form due to the strain not being too great after having mastered it in the Room of Spirit and Time, being able to use 10 times Super Kaioken by the time of the Buu arc. Not having it use up his time on Earth causes Goku to use Super Kaioken times 3 to overpower Vegeta when it's clear they're even, and pains Vegeta with memories of their first fight, insulting Kakaroto on relying on such a technique to tip the scales. By this point though, enough damage has been dealt to revive Buu, with Goku taking Vegeta to Kami's Shinden to be healed up while he eats a senzu, and both immediately get to Buu just before he attempts to blast Gohan away. When it becomes clear the 3 Super Saiyan 2s aren't enough to stop Buu, Goku uses 10 times Super Kaioken to completely overpower Buu. But the fight is as brief as usual, through this level of Kaioken not lasting long. Goku still says all he normally would to Buu, and causes him to betray Babidi. He then decides to tutor Gohan and the kids on the fusion dance, but with Vegeta being dismissive of using it, and time not being on their side, Shin brings up the Zetor sword, with Gohan and Vegeta being brought to the Kaioshinkai once the Dragon Balls are used as normally, with Gohan's greater potential making him the priority for the ritual. Events go as normal, beyond Vegeta going with Goku to Earth once the latter's life is restored, but changes occur against Pure Buu. A living body provides even more strain in using 10 times Super Kaioken than Super Saiyan 3, with it only being a few seconds into the fight before Vegeta chooses to resort to the Genki Dama strategy, and things go as usual. After the fight with Buu, Vegeta still focuses on gaining Super Saiyan 3 when aiming for a way to catch up to Goku, as does Goku when seeing the issue in relying on Kaioken. The events of Daima thereby going the same. Events in Super go near enough the same too, with the minimal role Goku's Super Saiyan 3 form played. The same is true for GT at first, with how little use Goku's child body would make of Kaioken, until becoming the Super Saiyan 4. Being able to stack it on top of Super Saiyan 4 allows him to overpower Golden Ozaru Baby, but is just as fatigued as when hitting him with the 10 times Kamehameha, and it proves ineffective against Yi Shinlong for similar reasons. It's through this scenario that we understand why Goku abandoned the use of Kaioken in higher forms outside of anime-only material, with the difficulty of stacking it on top of forms that already bolster his ki to greater heights. Thank you if you haven't watched through these what ifs. Comment requests, subscribe for it and more, and check out my older ones. Until the next one, see you later.